Hey everyone, it is Coach Sarah.
Dr. T here.
And I am going to flip this camera. Give me uno momento. There we go. So we want to apologize. We were live. We were live for a little while and we were having some technical difficulties apparently and people weren't seeing us.
Yeah.
So we were live for about 20 minutes.
Yeah, we talked for a while.
We did.
We're like, there's no one on
We
here.
answered lots of questions
Many.
to no one.
Yeah.
So if you are logging on live tonight, throw a 1 up in the comments for us. And if you are logging on the
There you
replay,
go.
put a 2 up in the comments for us. And we're so excited to have you.
Yeah.
So we apologize. Please forgive us. We were having some technical difficulties if you were just logging on.
So we've polished what we just said.
This Q&A session is going to be so good because we already went through the questions and rehearsed everything.
Yeah.
So our apologies again. If you're just logging on live, we were having some technical difficulties and now we are here with you and we are ready to answer your questions. So to get things started, welcome to our first weekly Q&A for the Green Keto Fix. Super excited to be doing this challenge. It's the first time that we're doing a keto-based challenge and we want to stress before we get started in this Q&A that we do not expect for you guys to get this perfect right out of the gate.
No, not at all.
This is a learn by doing challenge. This is 100%, jump in, get your feet wet, start taking action. And with that, the first action that we expect for you to take is to go into your email, print out the Green Keto Fix manual, put it in a binder, and read it.
Mm-hmm.
Cover to cover. That is what I expect for you to do.
Mm-hmm.
So with that, the first questions that we're going to get started answering tonight, I'm going to have Tyler take. And it's a question that came to us in the form of when we're talking grams of protein, grams of fat, how do we know how much to eat? So I'm going to let you walk them through how do we figure out our protein?
Protein is, the best way is to know roughly what your body fat percentage. And what that's going to tell you is how many pounds of fat you have on your body. And then the rest is your lean body mass. So if you weighed 160 pounds and you can see our dog here running through here. Go lay down. And you were 25% body fat. So we look at that, that's 40 pounds, that's 120 for lean body mass, and you times that by 0.8. If you times that by 0.8, that comes out to what?
120 times 0.8 is 96.
196, right, 96. So that would give you your rough, right there, give or take a little bit, of what you would need for protein for that size person.
Now, if you want to look at the simplified way of figuring that out,
Yes.
So you could definitely go with the specificity, and I do want you to figure out that number to have a ballpark idea of how many grams of protein you need to be getting in. Now, are you going to be carrying around a scale with you all the time?
I hope not.
Probably not. But what you are going to be carrying around with you all the time is your hand. And so that's why we also included this simplified instructions in the manual of how to figure out how much protein to eat. So we recommend during the Green Keto Fix that you're consuming 2 to 3 meals roughly per day, right? And if you're supposed to be eating roughly 96 grams of protein and we're using our hand, we know that one palm sized portion of protein is going to roughly be the equivalent of 20 to 30 grams of protein.
And remember, that's not only the size, but it's also the thickness as well.
Right. So if I'm looking at the palm of my hand and I'm getting a palm thickness and sized portion of protein, that's going to give me roughly 20 to 30 grams. And if I need 96, that means I need at least 3 of those to give me my daily requirements for protein, and I can split those 3 palms of protein over those 2 to 3 meals. Whatever I choose to eat. If I'm choosing to eat 2 that day, or if I'm choosing to eat 3, it's making sure I'm getting my protein in those feedings. So then let's talk about fat next. So when we talk fat, it's really important to note, again, that we're going to be using our hand for our portion guide, but there is a bit of a difference between when we talk oils versus talking whole food based fats. So during the Green Keto Fix, it is really important to keep in mind that we want 80% of your fat sources to be coming from whole food based fats. That means that oils need to be treated a little bit more like a condiment versus the star of the show. So we know that in this challenge, we recommend 3 to 4 thumb-sized portions of healthy fats in each of those 2 to 3 feedings. So if we know that a thumb-sized portion of fat is roughly 10 to 15 grams of fat, no matter what kind of fat you're looking at, and when we talk oils, the equivalent of a thumb-sized portion of oil is a tablespoon. Like not like a tablespoon out of your silverware drawer, but an actual measuring tablespoon. And that 10 to 15 grams of fat 3 to 4 times over in a meal can be somewhere around 30 to 40 grams of fat, approximately. So if we look at eating 30 to 40 grams of fat 2 to 3 times a day, we're going to be getting somewhere around that 100 gram of fat mark. That's roughly, approximately what we're going to be shooting for.
And we're talking we're always talking middle of the road here.
Right.
So again, if you're a really small person, that's going to be less, a little bit more. But
Totally.
Generally speaking, if you were a very large human being, you have probably very large hands.
And so your intake would be slightly higher than someone with tiny thumbs.
Tiny little hands. So, and that's the reason the hand is a really, I mean, I guess you could be a really large person with tiny hands.
Or you could be a really tiny person with Hulk hands.
But
it's very unlikely.
That's unlikely.
And if you're the tiny person with Hulk hands, way to go you, because your portion sizes are going to rock. So it is a very easy way for you to moderate your portion sizes when using your hand as your measuring device versus having to constantly feel like you're taking a scale out of your purse to measure and weigh everything that you're doing. So if you're eating a full palm-sized portion of protein at 3 feedings a day and it's just too much for you, peel it back to 3/4 of a palm 3 times in those meals. And you'll find your sweet spot where you feel satiated and you're getting the desired response of getting in and staying in ketosis.
Yeah, and if you're that person who's just hardcore analytical, loves numbers, and that's what they're about, and you like to track all your food, and go for it. Like,
Totally.
If that's you, and I know people like that. That's not me. I've done it. It drives me nuts.
And the thing is, it can be very good for a short period of time to track your food to get a better understanding of what portion sizes look like.
Yeah.
To get a better understanding of what things have what kind of calories.
Yeah.
But is it sustainable long term? Not necessarily. However, if you are someone who does want to track, there are 2 apps that I do recommend that you check out. One of them is Cronometer, so Cronometer. So Cronometer is a keto-friendly app that is very simplistic. Some people do claim that it's not super user-friendly, but I have not experienced any problems navigating it. And then the other one is CarbMinder. And CarbMinder is a little bit more tech savvy, and you can take pictures of your food and actually take a picture of your plate, and it is a smart app that will actually help you calculate the macros on your meal. I don't know how accurate this app is, but it claims to be able to do some pretty awesome things. So if you are somebody who has a very analytical type personality and does want to really get into the numbers part of that, Those are two of the apps that are definitely high ranking and high rated. Let's see. Regular bacon versus turkey bacon. We're going to go ahead and just address bacon in general. But before we address bacon in general, let's address the idea of turkey bacon.
So turkey bacon is pretty much turkey that's smashed up and then sliced into bacon meat looking things.
It's turkey hot dogs, essentially. It's like it's the like imitation crab meat is the seafood equivalent of hot dogs.
Yeah, I guess
Turkey bacon is kind of the bacon equivalent of hot dogs.
It's not an actual like breast. You think of like a breast of a turkey, like that's actually a whole thing. This is just smash in a tube and then
and then they shape it, and then they have like a bacon shaped cookie cutter.
Yeah, I guess. So yeah, I it's all turkey, but it's processed, and that's not what we're trying to get away from.
We're trying to get away from processed foods, and we're trying to get you really focused in on whole food sources and high quality whole food sources. So when we talk about bacon, it is a whole food. Quality nutrition, on the other hand, not so much.
I look at, and you have to look at where bacon actually comes from, and that is the underside, that's the visceral
belly.
fat of the pig. And in humans, when you have a large amount of visceral fat, that's considered to be a problem. Your comorbidities are higher. You have a lot of issues. So
it's a marker for chronic health issues.
Yeah, and so it's actually like it's actually inflamed tissue, and so you are consuming protein and fat that's inflamed, and so I love bacon as much as the next person, but I make sure that bacon is not a staple of my diet.
Correct.
It is something that gets sprinkled in into maybe like once, twice a month into the diet. So you can't be that person that is eating bacon every day, or that's like I'm doing keto, so I'm eating bacon all the time.
Right. Doing keto is not a permission slip to eat bacon. And the other thing that you need to keep in mind is what is contained within fat. So when we have fat on a person or on a animal, within that body fat is contained the toxicity that builds up within the body. Mm-hmm. Toxicity is stored in fat. So when you're eating the fat of another animal, you're also consuming their toxicity.
Yeah, so the quality of that meat and the way it was raised is everything for what you're going to put in. So you see the difference between, a lot of people understand cows easily. It's, that's a grass-fed cow, that's a corn-fed cow. Well, grass is very much going to be a higher omega-3 content, which is our considered healthy fat, while corn is going to give us a bigger omega-6 content.
Did you know that a cow can actually only live for about 6 months by consuming a corn-only diet?
Mm-hmm.
The cow can actually only, I'm going to say that one more time. A cow can actually only live for 6 months by consuming a grain-only diet. Mm. And what are conventional cattle fed? Grain.
Grain. Because it's cheap. And it
shortens the gestation period.
And it just shortens it, tightens it up, makes them really fat, puts a lot more great marbling into the tissue, which is marbling is like putting, in a way, is like visceral fat, pumping into it. Tastes delicious. I get that. But when we look at what it does to our body internally, not so great.
No, not so great at all. So